first I want to address something that a listener commented on or something, asked a question about, right? About powering pedals and power supplies and batteries. Mm-hmm. Okay. That, to me, I'm kind of lost on that, Brian. I just plug them in and go. So,
well, you could go a couple different ways with it. Most people will use like a one spot or like some sort of adapter or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Which does work pretty good. And what happens is whenever you get a couple like overdrives and maybe a couple delays, basically things that start having like digital grounds in them, mm-hmm. which is usually like delays, reverbs, a lot of stuff that's not overdrive distortion. What happens is you basically get like this hiss.
Okay, now are you talking about when you run them off the same wall wart?
Off the same wall wart, just through
like
just daisy chained.
Okay,
yep.
Okay.
So you do get a little bit more hiss and noise, mm-hmm. Regardless of whether the pedal's on or not. And this is not just like our stuff. This is everything.
You could actually even say moreover with more digital stuff, right?
Well, yeah, especially it's all the digital ground. So to not get too geeky, basically the more digital pedals that you have. And even if it has an analog bass tone, like a lot of delays that have like analog bass tone, but the echoes are created digitally, so there's still a digital circuit in there, right? So the more of those you have, let's say you have 3 delays and a reverb, or something like that, or it can even be just 2 different delays and a reverb, you'll notice a ton of hiss in there, unless you use something like a Voodoo Lab. What's the
Pedal Power Plus 2?
Yep. Let's use something that has isolated outputs.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. The keyword there is, what you guys listening, what you want to really, look for, that keyword is going to be isolated or isolation. Because there are things like you use the DC brick, right, Max?
Yeah.
And it's not isolated, but knock on wood, you don't have any problems
Never
with it,
had a problem with it, yeah.
But am I correct? It's not isolated?
It is not isolated. It's basically like a glorified daisy chain in a box.
Okay.
Very expensive glorified. Yeah, I've never had any problem with it. I've ran digital. I've ran analog pedals with it. I've never had a click or a pop, knock on wood, with it.
See,
well, I'm not knocking I'm not like a one spot. I'm talking like any basic adapter. You know what I mean?
Right.
One spot's actually pretty good for.
It's very good. Yeah.
So, but it's like even our board that we use at NAMM, our show board.
Yeah.
We daisy chain a lot of the overdrives together.
Yep.
And then the digital stuff will be isolated outputs.
Now, are we using, on those, I can't remember, are we using 2 Voodoo Labs now or just the one?
Yeah.
2.
Well, for the longest time, we were running 20 pedals off
one. Yeah.
Off one.
We just had isolated outs on those digital, like the two echoes and the reverb.
And I used to also run one to the chorus.
Yeah, the chorus too.
The chorus.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
not that it's digital, but
right, to me it
just a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have an LFO in there, and that creates some.
Sure.
And batteries. So batteries tend to be a little bit cleaner.
Really?
Yeah.
Just not as consistent, obviously, because the draw.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have that, but I think it's actually like one of the cleanest ways, personally.
Right.
So, because you're not tied to like house wiring as much, if that makes sense. I mean, yes, you are. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of engineers are gonna be like, "You're an idiot. That's not right." I know. Okay, I know. But for the layman, simply put, batteries a little bit quieter as well.
Okay.
Most of the time.
So a rule of thumb you can kind of use there too, and this will help us out here just as an employee of Wampler Pedals and somebody who fields a lot of questions and troubleshoots pedals. It's safe to say that if you're having a problem with your pedal, you might want to check it on a fresh 9-volt battery before you do anything because it's cleaner.
Absolutely.
Especially like that before a power supply.
Especially, I mean, like we get questions all the time. Well, I have one of your overdrives, and I'll just make up a TC Electronics delay and a Boss reverb, okay? And whenever I put my power up to them, there's a lot of hiss. Why? Right. And so I would say, okay, well, here's what you do. Put a battery in the delay and a reverb. Take them off the daisy chain. Right. Is the noise still there? And usually it's like, nope, it's all gone. I'm like, you need a Voodoo Labs.
Okay.
Perfect.